In the case of Gene Hackman's mysterious death, the testimony of a seemingly harmless neighbor sparked a wave of shock, overturning the entire investigation. Living just steps away from Hackman's home, this neighbor suddenly changed her story after weeks of silence, revealing astonishing details that forced the police to reopen the case. These revelations stunned the family and set the public abuzz. What did she witness on that fateful night, and why has she only now found the courage to speak out? As the truth begins to unfold, a big question arises. What is the true story behind Gene Hackman's death, and why did it take so long for these secrets to come to light? Is there something more hidden beneath the surface? The more we uncover, the more the mystery deepens. Can we handle facing the dark truth that is slowly emerging? It's a reality that may be too much to bear, but it demands answers. If you're curious about the mysterious death of Gene Hackman and the testimony of the neighbor, don't forget to like, share the video, and leave a comment below to let us know your thoughts. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to follow more updates on the case. Now, let's dive into the unsolved mysteries that still remain. Gene Hackman, a Hollywood legend who once dominated the silver screen with unforgettable roles, decided to step away from the spotlight to enjoy his final years in Santa Fe, New Mexico. No luxury, no noise, no scandal. This was the life he and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, longed for. Hackman's mansion was not just a home, but a sprawling 9,000-square-foot sanctuary, surrounded by the wild yet peaceful landscapes of Santa Fe. Unlike other Hollywood stars with properties scattered everywhere, Hackman chose a single place to call home, a true paradise after a lifetime dedicated to cinema. During those years, Hackman cared little for the glory of the past. He enjoyed a simple life, his mornings beginning with a hot cup of coffee, a few strokes of the paintbrush, then a walk through the garden, feeling the cool breeze through the branches. If Hollywood thrived on fleeting romances, Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa were proof of long-lasting dedication. They met in the 1980s when Betsy was a young piano artist. Although Hackman had been married before, Betsy convinced him that he had found his true soulmate. Together, they spent 3 humble decades. Betsy pursued her love of music, while Hackman turned to painting and writing. Neither of them sought fame, nor longed for headlines. They only sought a quiet life alongside a simple existence. Strangely, even though Hackman lived a reclusive life, neighbors often saw him lingering around each morning. He would drive out to buy the paper, sometimes stopping at a familiar coffee shop. The shop owner still remembered a man with a wealth of experience, striking with his sharp eyes filled with quiet thoughts. Gene didn't speak much, but when he did, you wanted to listen, one neighbor remarked. But there was one thing that sparked curiosity. Hackman never opened the door to strangers. Even the closest neighbors rarely crossed the threshold. Hackman's mansion was like a fortress, shared only by him and Betsy. Over time, whispers began to spread. Why did Hackman isolate himself so completely? Was he hiding something in that vast house? At the time, such questions were mere gossip, and no one could have foreseen the tragic chain of events that would unfold, changing everything. Neighbors noticed something strange about 2 weeks before the disturbance occurred. Hackman had stopped his usual trips to buy the paper, and the lights in the mansion stayed on through the night, as if someone was restless or keeping watch. Betsy vanished from sight, even though she often stopped by the nearby market to buy groceries. No one knew what was happening inside the estate. A neighbor recalled, "I remember one late night hearing a strange sound coming from his house. Not arguing or shouting, but something else. A noise I still can't identify." But no one thought it was a sign of the apocalypse. No one imagined that just a few days later, no one would see Gene Hackman or Betsy Arakawa again. One morning, the mailman noticed piles of newspapers untouched outside the Hackman house. Neighbors began to take note. There was no activity in the house, no one coming or going, no sounds from inside. That was when the police were called. And when they entered, what they found shook Hollywood to its core. The way Gene Hackman faded, the way the mansion became a hollow shell of silence, was just the prelude to a tragedy far greater than any film he had ever starred in. Because just when everyone thought they had a grasp on what had happened, the shocking testimony of a neighbor changed everything. This story had only just begun. The death of Betsy Arakawa not only stunned the neighbors, but also raised a series of unanswered questions. The woman who had shared over 30 years with Gene Hackman, a steadfast pillar for the Hollywood giant, was now gone under mysterious circumstances. Betsy Arakawa was found in the bathroom on a gloomy February afternoon when the police raided the Hackman estate. No one could have predicted the first sight that would haunt them forever. Betsy slumped beside the fireplace, her head gently resting on the edge of the bathtub, as if she were sleeping. Thyroid medication packets were scattered on the floor, some pills intact, others crushed. Notably, the room was clean, with no signs of struggle or accidents, no wounds, and no evidence of external force. Yet Betsy had disappeared. What happened? When the autopsy report emerged, the mystery deepened. The official cause of death, hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, HPS, a rare disease caused by rodents attacking the lungs and respiratory system. It starts with flu-like symptoms, rapidly worsening to cause shortness of breath, lung failure, and complete organ failure. However, there was an incident with no trace of rodents inside Hackman's house, no nests, no droppings, nothing suggesting the presence of the virus. What does this mean? The police conducted a search of the mansion for clues. Under the flashlight, they checked every dark corner, every crack, every cupboard, and any place where rodents might hide, but found nothing. The garden was also thoroughly inspected, yet no signs were discovered. Here, the first clue appeared, faint old footprints, a few rodent droppings that may have been there for months. But there was no evidence that rodents had infiltrated the house. So how did Betsy contract the virus? And more importantly, why did no one notice anything until it was too late? Another investigation surfaced in the autopsy report. Betsy's time of death was estimated to be around February 11th. Yet her body wasn't found for several days after that. No one acknowledged her absence. There were no calls from Betsy. No sight of her stepping outside. Even the delivery person didn't receive any requests from the Hackman estate. The eerie silence lasted for a week. But something grimmer lingered. Gene Hackman also disappeared during that time. A neighbor, Linda Brooks, said something chilling. I thought Gene had gone somewhere. But there's one thing that haunts me. On the night of February 10th, I saw their lights flickering on and off as if someone was moving through every room. Then everything went silent. What does this imply? Gene Hackman was in that house when Betsy fell ill. But why didn't he call for help? Why wasn't Betsy taken to the hospital? Why would a man play such a dangerous game? Iconic figures on screen lose all control in their own home. Gene Hackman may have known something no one else did. When the news of Betsy's death was reported, instead of clarifying matters, it only made things more complicated. A theory took root. Betsy couldn't have contracted the virus from a house. So where did it come from? Where was Gene Hackman in the days that followed? Why did the FBI suddenly get involved when this seemed to be no crime at all? These questions remain unanswered. But one thing is certain, the story is far from over. If you found this story intriguing and want to uncover more unsolved mysteries, don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below with your thoughts. Your support helps us bring you more in-depth investigations. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on this case and many more. Stay tuned as we dive deeper into the truth behind the most shocking mysteries.